Hello, hello, how are you? I hope you're keeping well and you're keeping safe. My name is Marion and I am welcoming you to the Majestic Events YouTube channel. As promised, today we have an event planner who is very well versed in the weddings world, especially. I have known her for years, at least 5, and she's really an inspirational story to me and an inspiration when it comes to all things design. So please welcome Shiru
Yay!
from Magnolia Events. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Just having you here is awesome.
Yes.
Because our journey is different. We met, I think, I think you were having a holiday. I don't know if you remember, at Sawela. You were having a holiday and I was working. I think it was 2015.
Yes.
And we sat down and we talked. And I remember you making a statement and you said, I just want to have high-end clients who can pay for my services. And we didn't know each other.
Yes.
And I was like, wow, that's a very profound statement.
Yeah.
And then Samanthas Bridal comes in and we start working together at the showcase. And I think that's where our journey was. So having you here is awesome.
Thank you for having me.
Right.
Yes.
So maybe for the sake of the viewers who don't know you like I do, could you tell us what your business is all about?
Okay, so I'm Shiru Magira from Magnolia Event Planners. I like to say lead planner or founder, depending.
I think we'll go CEO, founder, lead planner, whichever. Yeah.
I think the word CEO is a bit too ambitious. But
I used to say that until during COVID.
Yes.
I realized the spirits were very low.
Yes.
So to talk myself, I was like, I am the
CEO.
But there you go. Tell us about that.
And we started back in 2011, 12, that time frame. I'd just come back from overseas. We had lived there for years, so we came back.
Overseas in
Canada.
Yes.
In Canada, yeah. So we had my husband and I had our kids, and we decided to come back home. And at that point, I decided to do corporate world, and I was hired for about 1 year. And in that 1 year, I realized I don't want to do this anymore.
Sure, you were hired for 1 year?
1 year. I was a PA to an MD, so it was a very high and time stress kind of job. And then I kind of didn't want to do that anymore. So I asked my husband, do you mind if I kind of wing it and start an events company? Because it had always been in my DNA somewhat. And I started, and that's how we birthed Magnolia in 2011. But it was a sole proprietor then. Now it's a limited. I guess that's the beginning.
What made you start? Like what was the turning point for you that made you say, you know what? PA to MD, good job, but really, no, this I need to do this now.
Okay, so one thing, Kenyan work ethic and abroad work ethic, 2 different worlds.
I know.
And being that I had left when I was in high school, college, career, that side, when I came back, I couldn't just gel. That's the corporate, the way people work, it was different. And I was getting so frustrated. So I kind of, at that point, thought I need to start my own business. But what was my skill? What was I going to do? I knew I was good with events. So that is, my turning point was just getting frustrated in the corporate world. Unfortunately, this side of the world. Yes. So yeah, it's very, very different. And
so events was
it is what I could, it is what I felt was the gift from God, the talent, because it was an easy thing for me to think. It does not overwhelm me. I'm a creative. So it's what fell easy in my lap. Yeah.
All right, cool. Yeah. So Chuck Blakeman talks about the survival phase where first of all, that was the worst phase for me, where you have your business, it's off, it's taken off, but you're not able to take care of your expenses because you're also not generating enough income. Did you ever get to that point? Did you pass right through it, or did you experience it?
So how I remember my beginning and why I remember it, I think I chose events was because I kind of realized you can work with other people's things. You will not make much, but you will start creating your name. So I knew I could go to somebody and rent their linens. I could figure out who has a tent, chairs, and boom, an event is done. So it was a rough edged, but not the worst, because I didn't need a lot of capital. I just needed to be creative.
I think, and not only that, because you're now going into the deco world, but as a planner, did you start as a planner or as a decorator?
So I think I started off as,
because you've gone straight to the tents.
Yes.
And I'm like, okay, wait, let's come back.
Yes, as a planner, still, my very first jobs, it's using your head. Yes. So my time was what was valuable. It's what I had to pay me back. So I remember my husband telling me I need to behave like a lawyer, where I need to start, what do you call it, pricing for my time?
Yeah, time sheets, or
yes,
how much time you actually spend on a project.
Because it would be like meetings for days, because you're trying to please, or on the computer mood boards for hours. So you're like, how do you quantify your time equals to the money you're making? Mm-hmm. So luckily, a huge cash injection was not necessarily needed. Mm-hmm. What was needed was the creativity and the time and the willpower to just press on.
So you didn't feel any like emotions during the survival stage?
No. First of all, I didn't have an office. My home was my office in Java.
Nice.
So yes, and then luckily for me as well, I didn't have like personal things to run with. Thank God I had a husband. So,
Amen. Amen.
Yeah. So I didn't have to worry about rent, school fees, any of that, because at least he had given me a 1 year. Figure this out.
Okay.
Yes.
1 year.
1 year.
Good stuff.
Yeah. So at least figure this out.
Husband.
Yes. Yeah. So 1 year figured this out. That gave me a good grace period. So yes. So maybe I skimmed
through it.
Yes.
You're one of the lucky ones.
Yes.
Shall I say the blessed ones?
I am blessed. That I am. Yes.
So when did Magnolia get to the point of stability where they were generating enough income? Mm-hmm. And that income was able to take care of the expenses,
yes,
and also have a little bit in the account.
Yes. So, in the process of skimming through, I did a few personal events, and one of which, and I think I was sharing with you earlier, was a friend of mine lost a baby, and because she was so dear to me, I took it over as my project, and I did whatever I could to make sure that it was the most beautiful little send-off we could ever do for this little baby. Meanwhile, one of her relatives in the audience was just watching me. So it turns out this person, this lady, and God bless her, she's kind of connected. So she has a PR firm, and after this, she calls out, who was that person? And the rest was history. So she gave me such a huge lift from almost skimming through to whoa, because she gave me my very first recommendation for a very fancy 50th birthday for a top client. You know, the ones that are like, whoa.
Nice.
Now, let me tell you how this one went. This is how fast it went. We've just moved back to Kenya. We only have one car. So the event was at Karen Country Club. How do I get to Karen?
Yeah.
By a bus. So I actually, because I'm thinking, I need to figure this out. So I figure, how do I go to Karen? And I said, you know what? And I'm also kind of back from abroad. So I'm thinking, I'm not going to be posh. If I was abroad, I would have caught a bus. Let me just go. So I go to Kencom and I get on a bus. But what I had known to do was to go early enough before my client, because they couldn't see me coming off a bus.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. Good on you.
And I went, and I closed the deal. I think at that point, then you just figure out car sharing or rent a car. But that's how early on it was for me when I got my first. And then once you plug into like a set of, like a niche client, then you start to spread there. Yeah. Yes. But of course you have to deliver.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I think I was listening to a preacher, and he said, great people do the small things with excellence. And that's how that lady who was very well connected saw you, and she's like, who is that? Who is that?
Yes. Yeah.
And that goes to show that even for startup planners out there, no matter how small the event, do it with well and do it with everything that you've got, right?
And even as where we are right now, even if somebody comes to me and they're like, my budget is not out there, I don't turn down a job really. I will do it at their level but at the excellence that we can. So you will find that sometimes, especially during right now, people want to have little backyard parties. And they're like, oh my God, will I afford them? Like, what's your budget? As long as it's a game of numbers. Because remember, luxury is not always 5 million USDs.
Yes.
Luxury, yes.
Before, yeah.
Luxury can be 20K. How did you spend it? I don't know if, people, it's not always about how much you spend. It's the quality and the, I don't know, it's the fullness of. So, so and even now, small does not always mean rejected. It means let's see how to make it nice. Because I'm passionate about weddings, passionate about events. So despite the caliber, we'll make it look good. Yeah.
So we're here. You've skimmed through. You've gotten this wonderful connection. Now, what advice would you give to an event planner, or what would you say helped you to get to that level? Because I am assuming, and correct me if I'm wrong, that you had done other events prior to this funeral and send off of this wonderful baby. What things did you make sure that you did during this time?
And I didn't even make sure I did. I think it just came to me. So what I would tell an event planner who's starting out, right, is that if you feel this is it, just embrace it. Give it all you've got. Do your research. Be sensitive to your client. And I think the most important thing is that once you understand who your client is, deliver to their specs, not what you think should be done. Even though you're seeing it going off, be very careful to slowly turn your client to your direction, not coming in, because those little things is what builds your next step and the next and the next. Yeah, that's what I would tell. Yeah.
I know. I know you did a huge event one time, and I don't want to jump stages. When did you feel that you hit the big event?
The big event.
The big event that buys you that big thing. Was it during the stability phase or after you started bringing in employees? Because I know you have a team.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. So what I did was, so from home to a one office, from a one office to one assistant, and then slowly, then retaining your florist, retaining your decor team until they're in full salary. Then you grow with them. So don't bite into everything. Don't go starting with everything. Work out a deal where you retain, they become your to-go-to person, but at the same time you're not committed to a huge salary until you build yourself to that.
Okay. So you've given me a very good answer.
Yes.
But when people talk about Shiru,
when do they
before we talk about Shiru of Magnolia, this is the lady who does really high-end weddings. What is it that clients look for that you have? That's what I'm trying to get up. Because you did, what was her name? She was an actress?
Shamia.
You did Shamia's wedding. And first of all, I was told that the interview was just like, first of all, you went against really top people.
Yes, I was honored.
There must be things that you've done.
Being authentic. Okay, so let me tell you, maybe, how did I get Shamia? Shamia, I got her because when she interviewed, I think we were 3 planners.
3, yeah.
I didn't sell her what she already knew. I sold her the Kenyan wedding. Okay. I explained to her what is a Kenyan bride expected to do. What are the things that she will see that are different from what she knows? Because there was no need to tell her about the big cake. She already knew there's a cake.
After all, she's from the States.
Exactly. What does she not know about the first dance? But what she doesn't know is that women will come singing for her in the morning to serenade her out of the house. That was very intriguing to her. I also told her about I educated her a bit about the Kenyan Marriage Act 2014 and what is required from her to be legally married here. So that is so I think being authentic and understanding your subject is what helps me sell to that other level. Not trying to impress people. Now, what I've come to realize.
Now we're getting somewhere.
What I've come to realize. Don't try to impress. Just do your job. If you go to a doctor and you're sick, they'll check your symptoms, go through their research thing and figure out this is the diagnosis and treat it. Not trying to show you their PhD, I studied this and that. No. So the same thing when they come to you, understand your subject and don't try to impress them. Just do your job, and then that is what moves you over.
you.
You then be you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't try to compare against a peer who is personally very good in one thing more than you. Just do you. Yeah.
As a planner, do you think having the skill of being a florist and having the aspect of design gave you an advantage or an edge over
yes, it did.
some of us?
Yes. So what happened, I think, when we started in planning a little bit and trying to put the concepts together for brides, sometimes you would lease another company to come and do the setups.
In fact, that was the case from the moment I joined to like 2008 till about 2014, if I'm not wrong.
Yes. And unfortunately, their standards are different, their priorities are different, because they are a different company. They're also in it to make money. So if another client goes to them directly, you become second best, especially if they're paying more. Exactly. So from that, I decided, you know what? I will have to start my own deco team to be able to deliver to these things that I'm promising to. So from that and then I'm not saying that's when you start now to retain the right people and to grow with them, for them to understand your vision. And then the rest is history. Yeah.
I remember getting very frustrated. You know, you work with, especially florists, you work with a florist and then you say, this is what I want.
Yes.
And it's okay for a while.
Yes.
Then at some point, as you said, maybe clients that go directly to them, then now get more service or better service.
Right.
Then you come and you have an issue, and then after the event, you give a debrief, you send a report, this was not right.
Yes.
Second event, same thing.
Yes.
You get frustrated.
You too.
So you end up, you know what? Let me just do it yourself. So I think sometimes there's a misconception that planners want to do everything, but sometimes you literally don't have a choice, because the people you're depending on are letting you down.
Yes.
Even after you've used them for so long.
Yes, exactly. And in knowing different aspects to events, like let's say the florist, we sharpen our skills to understand flowers and what combines well, what lasts long. If it's lighting, what kind of lights are we looking at? Is it LED, fairy lights, laser lights? What is it? So in that aspect, we as planners tend to grow. You keep growing, and it's if I grow, once I figure out what LEDs are, I will go buy them myself. I'll buy the quality that I want so that my event illuminates the best way I know.
So I'm hearing what Shiko said last week, which is keep educating yourself.
Yes. You have to. You must.
Tell me, when I got to the stability stage,
yes,
I don't know if you watched the video, but what I did with some of the money that I paid myself, I bought shoes. Yes. I love shoes.
Yes.
What did you do?
So my stability. And after COVID, I'm like, what the heck was I thinking?
I know. No, let's assume
COVID didn't happen. No. So, as I mentioned, I lived out of the country. So I'm a bearer of a strong passport. So for me, all I need is a ticket.
Tickets.
Yes. So travel. I traveled. Yeah. I got to see places that I don't think should I have remained in corporate?
Maybe.
Now, can I even tell you something? Should I have remained in Canada? Maybe I would not have, because maybe I would not have been an event planner. I was a banker there. Maybe I'd have just maintained my job. So being an event planner, being able to make money, let me not make it sound like it was billions, but being able to turn money enough, I was able to travel. I was able to see parts of Africa, Europe, China, America.
I think
So that is where, when I sat during COVID and thought, what have I done? I thought to myself, what the heck was I doing traveling? I could have been saving.
I think that's what a lot of people are saying. We could have been saving. Creating buffers so that now, you know, when COVID comes, at least you have some money to take care of your expenses.
I should have put it in stocks and bonds, anything. So right now I'd be cashing it out. But anyways, I think I'm glad that I did. I think it's part of
the phase.
Yeah, it's part of life. And I'm glad that I did it, because now I probably wouldn't do it again. But yeah.
What mistakes do you think you made that you wouldn't want anyone to make, probably at that stage where you were traveling? Other than the travel, because I don't think travel is wrong, but what are the things that you wish you had done different?
So what I found with travel is that then you leave your business alone. You leave it at the hands of others. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're not. So I have lost quality because of my absence. people who are not careful to handle my brand as I would. So I know I've lost quality, not necessarily in delivery, but in the one-on-one with clients. I've had clients who've been so pissed off because maybe an employee spoke to them badly or were not handled in the way that I'm used to. So my thing I think a good balance would have been better instead of over traveling, because I would possibly like do 3-4 trips a year. So that was insane.
I was telling people, this is not the time to take your 3, 4, 5 trips. And there you go. So I think for me, what I've learned from you today is your journey until the point where you actually were making the money at the stability phase. And I would love to know where you are right now. And so before you answer, I'm going to go back to the viewers and just let them know that we'll be back next week for part 2 with Shiru of Magnolia.